morning, children. So let us continue with the chapter. Okay, children. So I was been speaking with ships, rearing of ships, where they are all rare in our countries. Then let me continue, children, with the processing fibers to woolen clothes. So children, there are some steps in processing the fibers. First step is shearing. Shearing means they are going to remove the hairs. Hairs means what, children? Hairs means fleece. They are going to remove the hairs of the sheep along with some thin layer of the skin of ships, and that process itself is called as shearing, removing of the hairs along with the thin layer of the skin of ships and goats. That process is called as shearing. After this process, the next step is scoring. Scoring means what, children? This hairs what we have taken from shearing, so that hairs will be containing a lot of dust, dirt, grease and all, so that all hairs should be washed properly. So washing of the hairs, that process is called by the name scoring. Washing of the hairs of ships and goats to make them free from grease, dust and dust particles, dirt particles. So washing of the hairs of the ships and goats is called by the name like scoring. Then actually this shearing means we are cutting the hairs, removing the hairs of the ships and goats along with the thin layer of the skin. That is usually done in the month of summer season. Okay, in winter we cannot cut the hairs because in winter it will be very cold. That cold climatic conditions, those animals, sheep and goat, they cannot tolerate. So in summer only we are going to cut the hairs. Yes, children. Then shearing finished, because that is nothing but removal of the hairs of ships and goats. Scoring, we are cleaning, we are washing the hairs to make it free from dust particles, dirt particles, grease particles and all. Then sorting. Sorting means, children, after scoring, sorting is done. Hair skin that is being sent to factories where hairs of different textures are separated. Means sorting means, children, textures means we are separating hairs, big hairs, small hairs, good quality hairs, bad quality hairs. Sorting means separating long hairs, short hairs. That is being done in the factories. Separating long hairs and short hairs, which is being done in the factory. That process is called as by the name sorting. After sorting, children, we have wool to fibers. Means small fibers. It is called by the name small fibers. It is being called by the name BURRS, burs, and so that is small fluffy fibers. Small fibers, we call it by the name burs. Yes, children. Then which is being picked out from hairs, that is what small hairs or small fibers, small hairs. Okay children, that is called, small hairs are called as pures. So picked out from hair fibers, and fibers are scored again. Again they are going to wash it, dry it, and that is what, if they are going to dry it again, that wool children, that wool is now ready, to make, wool is now ready to make fibers, small fibers, small hairs. We call it by the name pures, and this again pures is been washed, dried, and been, so from that wool it is been again here ready to make fibers, like where it is been ready to make clothes. Then step 5 children, coloring is been done. Means fibers, usually these fibers they are dried into various colors. Usually the natural colors of the hairs of sheep and goats, natural colors, it is maybe black, brown, white hairs are there. Natural colors of hairs of sheep and goats, natural color of the hairs of sheep and goats, it will be black, white or brown. So again what they are going to do, they are going to give some artificial colors also. For these hairs, artificial colors they are going to give. That is called as coloring of the fibers. Then the last step is there children, sixth step is what means these fibers, they are made straight, long straight fibers, straight fibers, they are ready to make now clothes. Long straight fibers, they are used to make like sweaters and all. Long straight wool fibers, they are ready to make sweaters. Small short fibers, they are used to make woolen clothes and all. So in this process what can happen, in the sixth process children, in the sixth process I shall rub some things. In the sixth process what it is being made, that wool, what I was telling about fibers, so this fibers is now ready to make yarns means children, from long straight fibers, woolen fibers are used to make sweaters. Short woolen fibers, they are used to make like woolen clothes and all. Long fibers, sweaters and all. Small short woolen fibers, they are used to make woolen clothes and all. So these were the steps involved in the processing of fibers to woolen clothes. Process involved in processing of fibers to woolen clothes, so that these fibers are made into woolen clothes. Fibers are made into woolen clothes. 6 steps were there children: shearing, scoring, sorting out, wool to fibers, coloring of the fibers, and last step was woolen fibers, they are being made into yarns. Woolen yarns means it is now wool fibers are ready to make clothes, are ready to make sweaters and all. Then children, as you all understood now, till here, sharing was taking out the hairs from the ships and boats. Taking out the hairs from the ships and boats. That is called as sharing. Scoring, washing them with water to make it free from dust particles, grease particles, dirt particles and all. Hairs are being washed properly. That is scoring, sorting. Different types, long hairs, short hairs, they are being removed. Good hairs, bad hairs, they are being separated according to their textures. Textures means according to their qualities, shining properties and all. That is sorting, separating the long hairs and the short hairs. Then we are giving them coloring. Artificial coloring is also being done to these hairs. Then it is being ready to make into woolen fibers to woolen yarns. Woolen yarns, they are ready to make, like long straight fibers are being used to make sweaters. Short fibers are being used to make woolen. This was all about the steps involved in processing of fibers into woolen clothes. Then, children, I should tell you about silk. Silk we get from silk. I should tell you about silk. Silk is, we are getting from silkworms. It is what? Silkworms, animal. Silkworm is a animal, from that we are getting silk. So it is a natural fiber. So silk fibers is a natural fiber, animal fiber. Then this rearing of silkworms, rearing, I am telling about rearing. I am telling about rearing of silkworms. Rearing of silkworms to get silk is called as sericulture. Rearing of silkworms to get silk, the process is called as sericulture. That is one biggest occupation in our country. To get silk, we are rearing silkworms. That process is called as sericulture. Usually, children, okay, female silk moths, it is called by the name female silk moths. They are going to lay the eggs on the leaves, mulberry leaves. Female silk moths will lay eggs. These eggs, they will grow further and they will hatch, and next step is from let me rub these children, these things. Okay. Moths, silk from eggs. First it is egg. It becomes moths. After days pass, it becomes larva. It becomes larva. Then this larva is also called as caterpillars, or it is also called as silkworms. So these silkworms, they will grow in size. After some days they will grow in size, and when caterpillar is ready to enter the next stage of its life history, when some certain days are going to pass, this caterpillar, or what I call it by the name silkworms, after certain days it is going to come into its next stage of its life history. That next stage of its life history is called by the name pupa. Then children, this pupa, it is going to first weaves. It is going to first weaves a net, weaves a net for itself. It is going to weave a net for itself. What it is doing? This egg was there. After certain days, it has become big egg. It is called as moths. Moths later develop into larva stage. After certain days, it is going to develop into caterpillars. Caterpillars means what? Worms, like insects. Silkworms, after certain days, it is going to enter into its next stage of its life history. That is, silkworms is going to become pupa. Pupa itself is going to start weaving a net to cover itself. So it weaves a net, then to hold itself. Then it swings its head from the side, and during these movements, during these pupa movements, the head of the silkworm, so it is going to these movements of the head, it is going to secrete. It is going to produce, like how we produce this saliva. It is going to produce a kind of protein. It is going to produce a kind of protein, it is going to produce a kind of fiber from its mouth. That fiber itself contains a protein, so that what I call fiber, when it is being exposed to the air, it is going to become hard. And later it is going to become silk. Later it is going to become silk fiber. Pupa, when it was rolling itself, it was covering itself with a net. Then finally this what I told silkworm later developed. After certain days it became pupa. So this pupa, it was secreting, producing like saliva of its. So that saliva is called as fiber. That fiber, when it is being exposed to the air, it becomes silk fiber. The saliva of the pupa, the saliva of the silkworms, when it is going to put out, ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ನಮಗೆ ಉಗುಳು ಅಂತೇವಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷಲ್ಲಿ ಸಲೈವಾ ಅಂತೀವಿ. So this saliva, in terms of silkworms, when it is going to produce its saliva, that saliva is called by the name fiber. It contains lot of proteins, like protein particles will be there. So that protein particle, what I call by the name fiber, that fiber itself, when it is being exposed to the air, it becomes hard and becomes a silk fiber. Silk fiber. So children, later the caterpillar is going to, like silkworm is going to cover itself with this silk with this fiber. This silkworms will cover itself with the fibers, and then cover itself with the silk fibers, and it becomes a totally biggest pupa, and when it covers itself totally, it is called by the name like cocoon. It was here eggs on the mulberry leaves. It became eggs. What it became? Eggs became big eggs. It became moths. Moths later developed into larva. Larva later developed into caterpillar. Caterpillar means silkworms. This is what silkworm. Later it is going to what? Produce its saliva. That is what that word fiber, which contains protein. This protein, it is going to cover itself totally, entirely. It is going to cover its body. Then it becomes what? Pupa. It is what? Pupa is what? It is covering its body with the silk fibers. It is covering its body with the silk fibers. That stage is called as pupa. It is covering its body with the. It is now covering its body with the silk fibers. When it completely covers its body with the silk fibers, it is called by the name cocoon. Inside this, what is there? Inside this cell, what is there? Inside this cell, what is there? Silkworm is there. And then this silkworm, which is inside the cocoon, okay, it is a shell, covering shell. This entire shell is what? Silk fiber only. Then what can happen, children? This development of the pupa into moth again, into moth continues inside the cocoon. Then the silk fibers, usually they are used for weaving the silk clothes. Then there are a variety of silk moths. There are variety of silk moths which are going to look very different from one another. In case of their textures, color, shining property, they will be having different fibers. I am speaking about. They will be having different colors, different textures, means different shining properties, soft to touch, hard to touch. So they are going to give different silk yarns. Then children, what I wanted to speak of was silk moths. I was speaking silk moths. Silk moths means silk moths. These eggs later developed into what? Eggs later developed into big eggs. Big eggs are called as moths. These silk moths. Later they can develop into larva, caterpillars and all. So different silk moths will give you different types of silk fibers. Different types of silk fibers. Different types of silk fibers we are getting from silk moths. So they are going to vary in their quality, they are going to vary in their color, they are going to vary in their texture, softness, everything. Then there are majorly I can find the 3 different types of silks in our country. 3 different types of silks. The important is tassar silk is there. Then tassar silk, mong silk is there. Then kosa silk. Then kosa silk is there. So they are obtained from different types of cocoons. They are obtained from different types of cocoons. Cocoon is what? It is the step after pupa. It is the step Cocoon is a step after pupa. Then, so these cocoons, they give you different types of silk. 3 types of silk we are getting it from cocoons of different silk moths. Different silk moths in the different silk moths in the ನಮಗೆ different types of silk ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. These different types of silks are tassar silk, moth silk and kosa silk. Usually in our country we are doing this rearing of silkworms to get silk only. That process itself is called as sericulture. So usually in our country most common silk what we are getting is mulberry silk moth. In our country common silk fiber andre mulberry. I shall write there mulberry silk moth. So this silk fiber is what we are getting from the cocoon. Okay, mulberry silk moth, that is common in our country. Soft silk we get, very good color, shining quality, it will be having soft to touch also. So that is being elastic also, which can be given different colors for that. In our country the most common silk fiber is mulberry silk fiber, which I am getting from mulberry silk moth. From mulberry silk moth I am getting mulberry silk fibers. Common in India, elastic, good texture, soft to touch and of very good quality, and it is having a very good rate. We are exporting that silk to the other countries also. Other countries are buying silk from India. India is very famous for sericulture. We are giving silk fibers to other countries, exporting the silk to the other countries. This mulberry silk fiber only. So this sericulture is a very oldest occupation in India. Okay children, the remaining things I am going to continue in the next period. Thank you children.